91 degrees, sunny skies in Arlington as we send it downstairs to Ken Rosenthal. Ken.
Kenny, Adrian Beltre told manager Jeff Bannister he is ready to go. Bannister said he trusts Beltre, that Beltre has earned that trust. And GM John Daniels had perhaps the definitive word saying, what are you going to tell Willis Reed, that he can't go?
That's a good one.
That, of course, referring back to the New York Knicks great and his return to the NBA Finals in 1970. A look at the Rangers defensively around the infield. Moreland, Odor, Andrews, and Beltre at third. Hamilton, DeShields, Chu from left to right. The battery of Holland and Chirinos.
4 double plays yesterday to keep this game close in consecutive innings, nonetheless.
And you wonder if Ben Revere, 3 bunt hits this year, will test the mobility of Adrian Beltre early.
Beltre in on the grass at third. First pitch from the 28-year-old left-hander Derek Holland, missing high and away. Ball 1 to Revere.
Well, Tom, it's interesting you bring that up. We were talking about that around the batting cage, but at that time, Alberto was playing third base, and he said, I got to test the youngster. Well, now, even more so with Adrian, I think you got to see if he moves. And as a bunter, where he's positioned, you can drop it right down the line. There it is. He's pulling it with him, though.
Lays down the bunt to the right side. Leadoff man on here at the top of the first for the Blue Jays.
Well, there you go. You can go both ways because he's that good of a bunter. And this play right here is designed to bunt it right at the second baseman. You got a left-handed pitcher who falls off towards third base. It opens up the whole side. You see Holland, as he delivers, he falls off. So now you've got the whole side of that infield to go ahead and drop the bunt towards second.
5th hit of the series for Revere. He has at least one in all 4 games. Josh Donaldson steps in. He'll be followed by Jose Bautista. Edwin Encarnacion in the cleanup spot. Then Chris Colabello, Troy Tulowitzki. Last night's hero bats 6th. Bottom of the order, Martin, Pilar, and Goins. Donaldson a home run in game 2. 2 hits last night.
And Kenny, throughout this series, we've talked about the ability of Rangers pitchers to work the ball down and away. Plan B today with Derek Holland is all about establishing inside. Marvin Hudson behind the plate, a little bigger zone than Alfonso Marquez had yesterday. The slider and the fastball in on the hands of the right-handed hitters is the key for Derek Holland.
Tell you what, you know the fun about being around teams and players in a series? I don't think I've ever met a guy as confident as Donaldson is right now in his abilities.
And he drills this one to deep right field. Chu looks up. It's gone. A 2-run home run off the bat of Josh Donaldson, his 2nd of the series. Blue Jays take an early 2-0 lead.
Tell you, I was around the batting cage, and he was hitting balls to right center, and he was in the group with Ben Revere and a couple of guys. He says, nobody hits the ball opposite field better than I do. Nobody. I can drive it out of the ballpark. Just the confidence that oozes off of this guy when you're around him. Whether he's talking about Auburn football where he went to college or whether it's talking about facing today's starter, he's as confident as anybody. We're looking at a club right now, Tom's on fire.
This is the game they played. Really began, jump-started with Tulowitzki's 3-run homer last night. The home run ball.
Bautista takes ball 1 inside. So after 5 pitches, the Blue Jays take a 2-0 lead. Donaldson 41 home runs during the regular season. 3rd in the American League. Blue Jays hit a major league high 232. Bautista 3 for 13 in the series. Just 4 for 20 lifetime against Holland.
Well, he missed some balls yesterday. He's a little upset. They continue to pound him in. And he's another guy that likes to sit on that ball inside and spin on it.
Throws this one to center. DeShields moving to his left. 1 away.
As a pitch up that Donaldson showing off that oppo power. He cracked me up today. He walked in the office of John Gibbons. Remember last night, Gibbons, the manager, put a contact play on with a runner on third base and 1 out. It was a double play. It took away an at-bat for Donaldson. And he said, Skip, I got 123 Dalmatians. How can you put a contact play on? And I'm thinking, Dalmatians? What the heck is he talking about? RBIs. Once you get to 101, you can call your RBIs Dalmatians.
101 Dalmatians. 123. He's had some stakes, no doubt.
He has 3 Dalmatians in this series. 2 today. A 1-1 to Encarnacion, fouled off to the right side, 1-2. For coverage of today's game in Spanish, please tune in to Fox Deportes. The 1-2 from Holland. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I think one thing that helps this Toronto lineup is playing in their ballpark and playing in the American League East division, particularly with Donaldson. He's realized now, coming out of that West with those big ballparks, Seattle, Anaheim, Oakland, where the ball doesn't carry.
A shot to third. Encarnacion is retired.
Well, you can see right there, Adrian, very ginger. Usually he'll come up and just wing that ball. Watch his actions after he catches it and throws. He's hurting right there. You can tell he's just going to have to gut through this performance today.
He got up in different parts there. That was like unfolding one of those chaise lounge, those lawn chairs he have in the backyard. It took a while to unfold.
He almost got undressed by that ball hit down there.
Strike 1 to Colabello.
Colabello was like, hey, you got to pronounce my name however way you want to, but my friends want you to pronounce it right. I said, okay, what do you want me to say? Colabello, you know, a little Italian in there. I said, okay, all right, I got you.
Deep right field. Chu is back. It is gone. Second home run of the inning. It is now 3-0 Toronto.
Well, you can see it's 93 degrees and the ball is jumping. And it always carries somewhat to right field, but he missed this ball. He looked at it and wondered if it was going to go. And Chu kind of drifted, but it is hot. The ball is carrying, and that ball is thundered. You can hear Donaldson down there yelling, nobody goes to right better than me, baby. They have a game plan. They're going to take Holland the opposite way. That's been their plan. Bautista hit one kind of to right center. Those 2 balls right field for homer.
Woo! So 2 first inning home runs off Derek Holland. First Donaldson and then Colabello. Tulowitzki at the plate. He hit the 3-run shot in the 6th inning to break the game open last night. Grounds out to the shortstop Andrews. Before the Rangers come to bat, they trail by 3. First Donaldson and then the 2-out solo shot off the bat of Chris Colabello. 3-0 Blue Jays in game 4. Texas Rangers batting order. They lead the series 2-1. Delano DeShields leads off, then Shin-Soo Choo, followed by Adrian Beltre in his return to the lineup. Fielder, Moreland, Andrews, middle of the order, Hamilton, Odor, Chirinos. DeShields takes a called strike. He has 6 of the 21 Texas Rangers hits in this series.
And this is a new experience. He has never faced a knuckleball pitcher before. So how do the Rangers prepare for R.A. Dickey? Down in the batting cage underneath the stands, they have a pitching machine. They set the dial to knuckleballs.
On one hop, it's Donaldson. One away. Dickey did not receive much run support over the first half of the season. He was just 3-10 prior to the All-Star break. But since then, a record of 8-1.
He does a great job changing speeds on that knuckleball. He throws one that's really firm, likes to keep that high in the zone. It's all about movement.
Well, what's unique about him, Tom? You talked about how he throws it hard. He's going to throw. Most knuckleball guys are throwing it in the 50s, low 60 mile an hour. He'll get it up there on you occasionally, mid 60, even 70. That's 77 miles an hour right there with that knuckleball.
I hate to say it to Marvin Hudson for his sake, because he actually got hit on the hand with that, but that's a good sign for the Jays, because not just hard to hit, it's hard to catch. Ball off the glove of Martin.
So Hudson behind the plate. The crew chief Dale Scott at first base.
Ouch.
Of course, the knuckleball pitcher wants as little rotation on the baseball as possible.
Well, you see Russell Martin's glove right there. It's almost the size of first baseman's glove. That is designed to catch a knuckleball that is moving the way it does. It moves so much that you got to have the extra width on the glove to catch it.
Russell Martin started 20 of Dickey's starts this season behind the plate. Josh Tolley, not on the postseason roster, started the other 13.
Russell Martin's got great hands. Been an infielder. That ball, if it's moving and he can't catch it, Tom, you're dead on. That's a great sign. It's tough to hit it if he can't even catch it.
Yeah, that's a catcher's mitt that went on a diet.
On the left
really
side,
no difference in size, but
well, a little bit. That angle's not really giving us much, but look at the top part of where the Rawlings was at. Not as much padding in the glove of the knuckleballer.
Beltre on deck. The 3-1 to Chu. Belted into right field for a base hit. We head to Los Angeles for a game break. Check in on the Astros and the Royals with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin.
Kenny, this is crazy. It looked like the Astros were ready to punch their ticket to the ALCS, but how about this? Potential double play ball from Kendrys Morales. It squirts through. 4 runs in the inning, still nobody out, and we're tied at 6 in the 8th. Unbelievable, Kenny.
A wild 8th inning in Houston. Thanks, Kevin. Adrian Beltre was not in the original starting lineup for the Rangers. We spoke to Jeff Bannister about 4 hours prior to first pitch. He said Beltre is a little better. Not quite ready. Perhaps he would play if it were a night game, but we shall see. And then just over an hour before the start of game 4, it was announced that Beltre would be in the Rangers lineup.
It's a big lift. I'm curious to see, after watching that ground ball, he's only got so many movements that looks like he's going to be able to have on the day. I want to see him swing in a game mode instead of maybe batting practice when it's more controlled.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if right away Jeff Bannister wants to get the running game in motion against the knuckleball pitcher. Now, the catcher, Russell Martin, you can't go out and get the baseball like you would a conventional pitcher because of the late movement on the knuckleball. You have to stay back. But R.A. Dickey is so good at holding runners and so quick to the plate.
Still got to challenge him.
His time is about a 1-1. That's exceptionally fast to the plate. You saw the pickoff move. Excellent quick feet to first base. And the success rate against Dickey actually below major league average.
The 1-1. Now 2 balls, 1 strike. How about this, guys? Dickey has not allowed a stolen base over his last 17 starts.
That's amazing.
Watch Martin stick this pitch. He thinks he's got a strike below the knees.
Talk about great hands. To be able to frame a knuckleball, it's pretty special.
Now 2-2 on Beltre, who drove in a run in his last at bat in the 3rd inning of game 1 in Toronto.
Well, his swing is always interesting. It's never much of an oil painting. We see him drop down to a knee and take a hack.
That's just not a comfortable swing, though. He's not able to finish. You can see where it's almost like he gets to a point when his back is tightening up on him on that spin.
Chu back in at first.
So quick with the feet.
Well, the one thing about most knuckleballers, and R.A. falls in this category with Huff and everybody else, they have a tendency to balk, to jump and come across. R.A.'s got great footwork, as you see there, but most pitchers when they're right-handed pitchers in particular, when their hands are still moving, or when they're going to be the fastest. I think with the knuckleballer, you're only going on the fact that Russell Martin's not going to be able to stay back and catch it. You just got to go.
Right center, coming out is Bautista. He dives and he cannot make the play. Two on for the Rangers with only one out here in the bottom of the first inning.
What an effort by Bautista. I thought he had it at first. You can see how it's so hot here and the ball's hanging a long time, because this ball looked like off the bat it's falling easy. And he closed some ground to get close to it. Great effort. Let's take a look at Beltre getting down the line. How's he running? How's he feeling? He's just talking to it. He looks okay.
Big opportunity for Prince Fielder, who is just 1 for 12 in the series. He has not driven in a run in the postseason in his last 89 plate appearances.
All-time record by Bill Miller, 109. How did he end it? That big base hit against Rivera, Game 4, 2004.
That's right. Center field, Pilar. 2 out. As Q tags, he's in at third.
That sounded good off the bat. And that's the thing with the knuckleballer. If you don't square it up, it sounds good, but look at the swing. Looks like he's on it. He just caught it off the tail end, off the back a little bit, off the tail end of the bat.
Ari Dickey making the Game 4 start. David Price, as we saw last night, is available once again.
And keep this in mind. John Gibbons told us if he gets him up, he will get him in the game.
And they feel like he can go 4 or 5 innings today, if need be.
Now he's in standby mode right now. He hasn't thrown a pitch out in that bullpen yet. He's just waiting on the word.
Getting loose, though. They don't have a whole lot of rope today.
Mitch Moreland 0 for 6 in the series. Off the fists. Rangers strand 2 base runners in the bottom of the first. Today's telecast is sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the Un-carrier today. By Bank of America, who invite you to keep sharing your favorite baseball memories all postseason. And by Chevrolet. Find new roads. 3-0 lead for the Blue Jays here in Arlington. Top of the second inning as Russell Martin takes a called strike. 0-1. Derek Holland allowing 2 first-inning home runs. Donaldson and Colabello. 0-2 on Martin, who was not in the Blue Jays lineup last night. Deanna Navarro behind the plate for Toronto. Caught Marco Estrada, who is brilliant.
Yeah, Estrada was great last night. I was so impressed with the fastball changeup combination. And the more we watch games, the more guys are throwing to the changeup. It's just a tough pitch for hitters to pick up, especially in this day and age of power pitching, where you're seeing so many guys mid-90s.
Estrada allowing just 1 run on 5 hits in 6 1/3. Picked up the win. 2-2 on Martin. He'll be followed by Pilar and then Goins. Popped up to the right side in foul territory. It's Moreland.
Well, Kenny, I thought that Holland against this lineup was the most difficult matchup for Texas, because Texas has used right-handed sliders and left-handed changeups. Balls working away from right-handers. Holland doesn't have that in his game. You saw that fastball he wanted away, leaked over the plate. Another fastball wanted away, leaked over the plate. Now he does have a changeup, but it's the worst of his 5 pitches. I think he's going to have to mix that in more regardless. He did throw one to Russell Martin, but he wants to work more inside, sinking the ball away, not his strength.
Here's Kevin Pillar, who has 4 hits in the series, including 1 in each of the first 3 games. 2 for 4 last night in the Game 3 victory. And he drills this one deep left center. It's gone. 3rd home run of the game over the first 2 innings for the Blue Jays, who now take a 4-0 lead as David Price celebrates in the bullpen.
It's like I caught a home run ball. Hey, Tom, your point, right on cue. And sometimes you see a guy early, and I see Bannister's coming out, have a little conversation. The matchup, it just doesn't match. And he's a guy who likes to throw that fastball and challenge, and this is a club that loves to hit the heater.
Well, that's another pitch left up in the zone. Off-speed pitch this time. Watch the location again. Chirinos wants it down. Wow, what a mistake. Looked like the slider that just didn't slide at all into the barrel for Kevin Pillar. And David Price had him positioned perfectly.
This is what you like about David Price. Look at him. That's 3.
Well, let's not forget, too, Derek Holland working on 10 days of rest.
Kevin Pillar, 12 home runs during the regular season, including 2 in 1 game off Max Scherzer.
Well, I think it's going to be an offensive game, guys. The Rangers already were shooting right there, ready to score last half inning.
Goins 0 for 10 in the series, now 0 for 11. So 2 outs, top of the 2nd inning.
Well, remember the other day, Texas's big rally started with a hit and run. Today, the offense for Toronto started with a bunt base hit by Ben Revere. You get Holland off the mound, you get him in the stretch, and boom, Donaldson with the home run.
Derek Holland making his 5th career postseason start for the Rangers. Texas has won each of the previous 4. His last postseason start, Game 4 of the 2011 World Series, a win over the Cardinals. But a different story today, as he has allowed 3 home runs over the first 2 innings.
Well, he's just got to settle down, get into the flow of the game, give him some innings.
Right back to the box. That will do it for the Blue Jays in the 2nd, but they add to their lead. First career postseason home run for the number 8 hitter, Kevin Pillar. Blue Jays lead by 4, middle of the 2nd. Official caps, hoodies, jackets, and more. Celebrate with your favorite team at the MLB.com shop. Kenny Albert, Harold Reynolds, Tom Verducci, Ken Rosenthal in Arlington. Game 4. Road team has won each of the first 3. And the road team out to a 4-0 lead today as Elvis Andrus takes a called strike. R.A. Dickey making his first career postseason start. Spent 10 years in the Texas organization. He made his major league debut in this ballpark in 2001. Picked up his first major league win in this ballpark in 2003 and made his first major league start in this ballpark later that year.
Yeah, he was a big draft pick for the Rangers. What was that? He had a ligament damage in his arm?
He did, as a #1 draft pick.
First round pick back in '96. First strikeout for Dickey as we head to Los Angeles for another game break. Wild 8th inning, Kevin Burkhardt.
Kenny, remember last year in the wild card game where the Royals were down 4 runs in the 8th and they won that game? They're down 4 runs in Houston. They've scored 5 in the 8th inning. Here's the go-ahead run on a ground down from Alex Gordon. Royals in front. Unbelievable. 7-6. Kenny, back to you.
All right, Kevin. Josh Hamilton broke out of an 0 for 31 in the postseason last night. Hits in each of his last 2 at bats. So the Astros took a 6-2 lead into the 8th, looking to wrap up the series, and the Royals score 5.
Incredible. You thought it might be over because their bullpen has been throwing the ball much better as of late. They struggled down the stretch, the Astro bullpen that was. Then to come back now, the Royals. Wow.
Well, Kenny, you mentioned the 2 hits for Hamilton last night. You know, of course, he missed some time, had some surgery on the knee, and actually it was barking on him today when he got to the ballpark. He did not get out on the field pregame.
Pops it up, left side of the infield. 2 out.
When you get behind against a knuckleballer, it becomes a little more frustrating for you as a hitter, because you can normally wait them out. They're going to maybe walk guys, force them to have to really work on their control, but the further they get out in front and the more they make you have to swing the bat as a team to get back in it, to take away the running game when you're down 4-0. You know, a lot of things start to happen as that lead increases. It becomes better for the knuckleball pitcher.
Strike 1 to Rougned Odor, who has scored 5 runs in the series.
And RA's got a great knuckleball working today. Ball's dancing.
He's not only a knuckleballer, but a knuckleballer who won a Cy Young Award just 3 years ago.
Yes, the Mets. It's a big trade Blue Jays made. This whole thing started really when you go back and you look at the R.A. Dickey trade and the Florida Marlins deal they made. He's got it working today, folks.
Second strikeout of the inning, a 1-2-3 second. Blue Jays lead by 4. Top of the 3rd in Arlington. Blue Jays with a 4-0 lead on the Rangers. Josh Donaldson squares and takes strike 1 from Derek Holland. Donaldson, second batter of the game, 2-run shot. His second home run of the series. Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion for Toronto here in the 3rd.
Saw the changeup right there. Derek Holland is running out of rope because Colby Lewis, a starting pitcher, warmed up last inning. He's throwing right now. It's almost as if Holland is in batter by batter mode right now.
Holland has allowed 3 home runs. He also allowed 3 home runs the last time he faced the Blue Jays back in late August.
When you have a starting pitcher in your bullpen, you just can't treat him like a traditional relief pitcher. Needs time to warm up, and you certainly don't want to get him up multiple times.
And that being because there are routines that they go through, and normally before a game for a starter, it takes them 20-25 minutes to warm up to get themselves ready to go before a game starts. So you try to get that guy up, like Tom's talking about, with enough leeway that he stays on that same similar routine. Those guys there, you get them up in a heartbeat, but the other guy warming up takes a little more time. Wanted that one.
Yeah, he tried to change up again away. You have right-handed, left-handed pitchers, but you also have a dominant side to the plate as a pitcher.
Payoff pitch. Fastball missing high, ball 4. Donaldson heads to first. Share your favorite postseason memories using hashtag MLB Memory Bank.
What's yours, Ken?
Well, I remember watching that one.
Yeah.
Joe Carter back in '93.
That was special. I was up there at that series. Great group of guys there. That was a terrific team, that Blue Jay team, 92 and 93.
Bautista with a shot off the wall and left.
That's what he'd been waiting for all day right there. That ball inside. He missed it last night, and he missed it the first at bat. But when Holland continued to pound him inside, you're giving him free at bats and free looks. That's, I think, going to be it for him, to be honest with you.
And as I said, a dominant side of the plate. For Holland, it's the inside part, not the outside part.
So Derek Holland in his 5th career postseason start does not make it out of the 3rd. We take you back to August 25th, 3rd start of the season for Derek Holland against the Blue Jays. He'll have 3 home runs. Colabello, Bautista, and Encarnacion. Fast forward less than 2 months later, game 4 today, 3 home runs. Donaldson Colabello and Pilar.
And the same story in every case, Kenny. If you watch the position of the catcher's glove, the glove was always set lower than the point of contact. Missing up in the zone and paying for it.
So here's Colby Lewis, who made 33 starts this season, led the Rangers in wins with 17. It's his 5th year with Texas, and it will be his first relief appearance as a Ranger. He has not come out of the bullpen since September of '07 with Oakland in Boston.
And they're playing for outs. You know, they're trying to minimize the damage. The infield's not drawn in. They're going to try to get an out, give up a run, try to keep this from breaking open and getting too far out of hand.
Encarnacion on the ground to the shortstop. Andrews, he triple clutches.
That was a big play right there by Elvis Andrews.
He applies the tag on Bautista.
That's a great
After
play.
Donaldson scores, it's now 5-0 Toronto.
You know, that's you're giving up the run, and you want to take an out, and you're going to leave Bautista at second, no problem, and they're going to have a chance to drive in another run. This is a big out. Nice backhand play, but watch him look to catch the runner. He knows he's got a long throw, but out of the peripheral vision, out of the corner of his eye, he was able to catch Bautista getting ready to go to third base and got the out. That's a huge out in keeping this inning manageable. Now you get a double play ball, you got a chance to get out of the inning.
They deked him. Bautista had visions of crossing over to third if a long throw made to first. Never left his hand.
I think he came up with full intent to go to first. And as he's coming up, he was able to spot Bautista. He's going to throw Encarnacion out from deep in the hole right there. There's no doubt about it.
Base hit down the left field line off the bat of Colabello. Into the left field corner. Rounding third is Encarnacion. He will score. It is now 6-0 Blue Jays.
That's a big play right there. Nice hustle. And I love the aggressiveness at third base by the third base coach to Cindy. Down the line, in the corner, fair. They were kind of trying to play him off the line a little bit in the outfield. It's one thing in the infield. In the outfield, they're playing him a little bit more towards left center. That's why it took a minute for Hamilton to get over there. The ball's in front of you, and Encarnacion turned it on the whole way around. He's all over the plate. Wake up the Jays, man. This offense is clicking.
Tulowitzki takes ball one. So the Blue Jays, who led baseball in runs and home runs during the regular season, they scored only 12 runs over the first 3 games in this series. They have exploded for 6 over the first 3 innings.
Well, you could see the offense coming last night. Remember, they hit into 4 consecutive double plays in innings. 4 innings in consecutive double plays that kind of snuffed out their rallies. So the offense was there. They're swinging the bats today. They're putting it all together.
You see Colby Lewis trying to work that spot down and away. Don't forget, Jeff Bannister had an option to start Derek Holland or Colby Lewis today. He decided to go with Derek Holland because down the stretch, Holland was the one throwing the better baseball. Matchup-wise, the worst option.
Well, right now it's tough to find a matchup for this offense, and when they're clicking like this, this is the Toronto Blue Jay offense you fall in love with.
5 extra base hits for the Blue Jays today, including 3 home runs. Shallow center. DeShields makes the catch. 2 away.
It's a funny game.
'93 wins for the Blue Jays during the regular season. First team in history to trail in their division by at least 8 games at the All-Star break and then win the division by at least 6 games.
And they really had a terrific second half. The big trade made the big difference in this club, no doubt about it. With the attitude, you got David Price, you pick up Tulowitzki, it just changed everything. And when your front office goes out and does a big move like that, you feel like, all right, this is our chance to really make a run. It was a good club, now it became a great club.
First trip to the postseason since '93, and last night the Blue Jays won for the first time in franchise history in the postseason when facing elimination.
They passed the Yankees like the Yankees were standing still. 6-game lead the Yankees had heading to the last 2 months of the season. What you're seeing now is how they play baseball. This is Blue Jays baseball. Big Blue machine. They got all 12 cylinders firing right now.
On to Martin, missing high and away, ball 2. Six nothing Toronto. Top of the 3rd inning. Blue Jays trail the series 2-1. The 3-1 in for a called strike. Colabello, the runner on second.
This is what they did yesterday. They did not do in games 1 and 2. Not chasing. The strike zone discipline has really improved these last 2 games, making Rangers pitchers get the ball into the strike zone. And when they do, they're not missing it. They're squaring it up.
But Tom, you brought this point out yesterday a little bit. That was a ball from the time it left his hand. You know, you can see as a hitter where that ball's releasing. That's why you're not biting. The difference that I've seen is most of the balls that they were swinging at look like they might be strikes, and then they're leaving the zone, whether it was a cutter or whether it was a slider or whatever it might be. That fastball right there from Colby Lewis was outside and never came back.
After a visit from pitching coach Mike Maddox, Lewis will face the 7th Blue Jay. To come to the plate here in the 3rd, Kevin Pillar, who homered in the last inning. 2 on, 2 out. Ball 1 to Pillar. Pillar now with a 14-game hitting streak dating back to the regular season. Final 10 regular season games, a hit in every game of this series. Chirinos cannot make the play.
And when you're facing a hitter that's hot like Pillar, you got to come down with it. There's a few things he's contending with. Look at all the stuff on the batter's circle right there that he's stepping on the on-deck circle. You've got a rosin bag, you've got bat laying there, you've got all the sleeves that go on the bat. Everything there. Look at all these things he's got to contend with as he's coming over here, and he slipped on that bat right there. That kind of threw him off a tad bit.
He got through that obstacle course, but just didn't get all the way over to the wall. That's like a machine shop down there.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff
they got going on.
Got 3 warm-up bats, heavy bats. You got 3 sleeves, got rosin bag, got rosin chalk.
Bat Boy's earning his money today.
Yeah, he is.
Hot day, toting that stuff back and forth every inning.
An entire sporting goods store.
He just basically said, forget it, I'm laying it all right here.
Below the base hit into left field. Colabello comes home and is now 7-0 Toronto. Second run batted in of the game for Pillar.
They're hitting shoes on today, man.
Woo.
officially hot. Off-speed pitch, not a bad location. Look how far outside this is. Oh, playing a little tennis there, a little Federer dropping it in.
That was a nice, great hand-eye coordination on that.
Maddox went out to the mound there to settle Colby Lewis down. Left unsaid. Don't look over your shoulder, buddy. There is nobody throwing in the bullpen. We need you to give us some length.
And you look at Pilar right there. You know, yesterday I talked about Rougned Odor, and you watch players over a series like this where it's high intensity and you see what they're made of. Pilar has stepped up and shown all the things he can do. Great catches, big base hits. We saw a home run. He's really shining on the spot right now.
2 hits, 2 runs batted in today for Pilar. Ryan Goins popped to the shortstop Andrews. His first time up. Sends this one to deep center field to Shields back. And he makes the catch on the warning track to end the inning. But the Blue Jays extend their lead. They chase Rangers starter Derek Collin 3 home runs. Donaldson, Colabello, and Pilar. 7-0 Blue Jays, middle of the 3rd. Our main tank trivia question: what is the lowest team batting average by an American League Division Series winner? I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it. As Robinson Chirinos leads off for the Rangers, he's batting for the first time, and his team is already trailing by 7. Wow. Chirinos 1 for 7 in the series as Dickey misses low and away, 1-1.
Think about how quickly things change. Bottom of the 1st inning after 3 batters. David Price is up in the bullpen for Toronto. Alarm sirens, whistles going off just in case. And we sit here with R.A. Dickey in command with a 7-run lead.
Now, we mentioned early in the season, Tom, Dickey plagued by a lack of run support. Certainly not the case today. Right center off the bat of Chirinos. And the catch is made by the right fielder Bautista for out number 1 as we check in on the other American League Division Series with Kevin.
Eric Hosmer, Kenny, had a big hit in the 8th inning of the Royals rally, and here a little insurance. A 2-run bomb, and now Wade Davis on the bottom of the 9th try to send this to a Game 5 in Kansas City. 9-6 the score. Kenny.
All right, thanks, Kevin. So a 7-run game here, but the Astros had a 6-2 lead heading into the 8th down in Houston.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think that would get away from you.
5 months they had the best bullpen in baseball, and for the last month the worst, running on fumes.
Kansas City, the defending American League champs, scoring 5 in the 8th and then 2 in the top of the 9th to take a 9-6 lead.
Rare fastball right there from Dickey.
Well, he'll mix one in every now and then. He'll probably come back with one here too. I mean, he's got 7-run lead now. It's about throwing strike for him. There it is. You know, it's 81 miles an hour, but when you're throwing a knuckleball that's floating up there, it looks like the guy's going to be able to get rid of it a little bit faster. That ball looks harder to you.
Now the 2-1-2 to Shields, and grounded to 3rd his first time up.
Try to sneak another one by him.
Full count.
And this is the difficulty of facing a knuckleballer when he's got a big lead. I talked about that before. But now there's no threat to run. He can bust off his nasty knuckleball that he wants to throw.
On the ground to the shortstop, Tulowitzki for out number 2. We take you back to 1996. R.A. Dickey, second from the left on the cover of Baseball America, drafted in the 1st round by the Texas Rangers, represented the United States in the 96 Olympics, won a bronze medal in Atlanta. 16-19 record with the Rangers, won the National League Cy Young with the Mets, and then that 7-player deal. I think it worked out for both squads, guys. Noah Syndergaard and Travis d'Arnaud, 2 pretty important cogs for the New York Mets, going the other way.
Yeah, it's worked out. And I think the big thing for R.A. Dickey is that Blue Jays have to go a long ways in the postseason for that to look good on their side. The Mets' future, and they're there right now. But Tom, you want to talk about this?
He's on the cover here. This is him. But the Rangers doctor looked at the shape of his arm, the angle of that elbow, and said, "There's something not right there."
You saying on that
photo? To right field. Yeah, I mean, who needs an X-ray, right? They could tell on the picture, the still picture on the cover, the angle of the bent elbow, that something wasn't right. And sure enough, he did have an elbow ligament issue and lost a big chunk of his signing bonus.
So he got busted because he was on the cover of this thing.
So this long road of R.A. Dickey to get to this first postseason start has been a rocky one. Twists and turns everywhere.
Hey, Doc, you see that R.A. Dickey kid? We're going to draft him. Oh, yeah, I saw him on the cover. Arm doesn't look right. What?
Crazy. Beltre batting for the second time, singled back in the first inning. And then 10 years after he's drafted, in April of 2006, Dickey makes his last start for the Rangers in a game against the Tigers. He allows 6 home runs in 3 in the third. And that's it. Does not pitch in the major leagues again for 2 years.
Wow. I like his description of the knuckleball. It's a pitch born of desperation. Tim Wakefield was a failed infielder. Charlie Huff hurt his shoulder.
Tim Wakefield, who was a roommate back in the early 90s in the Pirates system with Rangers manager Jeff Bannister. We had an interesting conversation with Jeff earlier today about his time spent with the knuckleball at Wakefield.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. The fact that they were roommates, and he basically said, and when Wakefield got sent to Double-A ball, he was coaching him and said, "Hey, until you can make me miss the ball catching it, I can't recommend you to go back." And you see the field right there. Look at that. You see the shadows are creeping in too. That becomes even more of a challenge for the Texas Rangers to me. With a fastball, I can know where it's going to stay in the zone. A knuckleball, I don't know where it's going. And now you throw a shadow in there, good luck.
Beltre started down towards first, but Marvin Hudson says stay right here. It's strike 2.
That's a pitch that's not easy to catch or call. Umpire really has to stay on the pitch. Such late movement. And a nice job by Russell Martin to frame it.
Well, the deception is the catcher's framework really doesn't matter with a knuckleball. It is where it goes over the plate to that arm.
Chu on the move, and Beltre with his second hit of the day. Chu in its third. Rangers with runners on the corners and 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning.
And the bigger story for me was Adrian Beltre. Even on the pitch he took, he didn't look right. So, yeah, he got a base hit, and now they're first and third as he drives this ball through. Good effort by Tulo, but watch out Adrian on the finish here. I mean, we're seeing the same signs we saw out of the game the other day. Look, this is going to be a challenge for them moving forward. You're down 7 runs in the third. Do you continue to jeopardize possibly him not playing game 5 if it goes there?
He's trusting a veteran player to know not only his body, but how to play with a compromised body, essentially playing at about 60%.
Prince Fielder flies to center his first time up. How about the fact that Beltre, who is in obvious pain, is now 3 for 3 at the plate in the series?
How about that? He's getting it done. Here's a chance for Prince to drive in a run. He hasn't done that. We were talking about that last time. But
he has now gone 90 postseason plate appearances without driving in a run.
And guys, I'm watching Adrian Beltre. I got to take him out of the game. He can't move. When he tries to jump off and do his secondary movements, it is a struggle. Tom, I know you said, hey, and they've said it to us, you got to trust that player, but sometimes you got to step in for the player too.
It's worth repeating. Jeff Bannister calls him the toughest player I've ever been around.
Pitch gets away from Martin. Beltre hobbles to second. Chu scores. Rangers with their first run of the game. It's now 7-1.
Well, to get what you get with a knuckleball pitcher. 24 pass balls and wild pitches this year.
Like that.
There's another one.
That was close to hitting his pants if it didn't hit his pants. But watch Adrian Beltre. Here's what I'm talking about. Pictures speak for itself.
Pilar on the run. Makes the catch to end the inning. Rangers on the board. A run on 2 hits. It's now 7-1 Jays. Here in Arlington, Texas, Toronto Blue Jays with a 7-1 lead on the Texas Rangers as we move to the 4th, and we welcome those of you on FS1 who had been watching the Royals and the Astros. What a comeback by Kansas City as they force a Game 5 on Wednesday night. Kenny Albert, Harold Reynolds, Tom Verducci, Ken Rosenthal. The Toronto Blue Jays lost the first 2 games of this series at home. A 5-1 victory for the Jays last night. And they hit 3 home runs over the first 2 innings today. Took a 7-0 lead. And then the Rangers with a run at the bottom of the 3rd. Ben Revere leading off against Colby Lewis, who came on in relief of Rangers starter Derek Holland back in the 3rd inning. Revere started the game with a bunt single. Came around to score on a Donaldson home run.
Yeah, if you were watching the game in Houston, you missed an unscheduled home run derby. 3 of the first 8 Toronto batters home runs off of Derek Holland.
3 home runs on the first 24 pitches of the game thrown by Holland. As Revere draws a leadoff walk. Our game summary is sponsored by Budweiser. A lot to talk about. Blue Jays with 3 home runs, franchise record in a postseason game. Donaldson with his 2nd of the series. They chase Holland early. Rangers with a 2-1 lead in the series.
Well, I thought they had a great game plan. The home runs were opposite field. The Pilar pulled one into left center field, but Donaldson opposite way, opposite way. And they just really came with a great game plan on Holland and took him out of the game early.
Beltre, the 2nd. And now on to 1st, but Moreland pulled off the bag.
They might see a replay on that one there.
So Adrian Beltre, in case you joined us later, we're watching the Astros and the Royals, not scheduled to start for the Rangers today, about an hour before the game, the switch. And he's having a tough time moving around, but he does have 2 base hits, and we just saw him make that play at 3rd.
Yeah, you can clearly see that he is not moving as fluid as he'd like to. And so therefore he's struggling with the throw, and he's swinging the bat, running the bases. He's out playing. It's inspirational, Tom, but he's not moving very well.
It is, and we talk about when to go get a pitcher. In this case, we'll be talking about when to go get a 3rd baseman who's obviously compromised with that back. Obviously score dependent, but if we do get to a Game 5, you want to make sure that Beltre is back in the lineup.
Well, there's the out with Odor. He caught the ball. Now he goes to transfer to make the throw. It's when he dropped it. So it was clearly a catch. That's why there's force at 2nd base when many may have thought it was a drop, but he went to transfer to make the throw to 1st on the double play. But that was a Beltre throw that took him off the line. You usually don't see that. That's a double play ball, and that's all, I think, because of the injury. He's not able to handle the glove and the ball the way he normally would.
Left center. Catch is made by DeShields for out number 2. Two away. Here's Encarnacion with Donaldson, the runner on 1st. Encarnacion drove it a run back in the 3rd inning on a fielder's choice, and he takes strike 1 from Colby Lewis.
What happens a lot of times you get a big lead like the Blue Jays have right now, and it's 7-1, you start to play a little more complacent. Obviously that's the way the game is kind of played. You don't want to rub it in, so to speak, sportsmanship like, but in postseason, your 4th inning, 7-1, I think if you got a chance to continue to run bases and put pressure on the other team, you do it.
I'm still impressed with the quality of the at-bat starting in game 3. This is like an expensive sports car. It went into the garage, just wasn't running right in the first 2 games. This is Blue Jays baseball right now. They're humming.
And Harold, with regard to what you just mentioned, keep in mind the Astros had a 4-run lead in the 8th inning at home today.
Yeah, I mean, it's not over. And postseason is not a regular 162 game schedule. The old book, so to speak, gets thrown out. You just got to continue. You got to bury a team. You got to put them away when you got a chance to do it.
The 2-2 from Lewis, and Encarnacion fouls it back. Seven runs on 7 hits for the Blue Jays. Colabello on deck. He took Derek Holland deep back in the 1st inning. One of 3 Toronto home runs. Donaldson and Pilar with the others. After the Blue Jays had a team batting average of just .204 over the first 3 games.
Well, that's a big pitch right there, 2-2, because now 3-2, 2 outs. Donaldson's running, and a gapper scores him easy. Anything down the corner or in the gap. 2-2, you throw a striker, ball gets hit. He's probably not scoring. Now he's off and running on the pitch.
There goes Donaldson, and a base hit up the middle for Encarnacion. So the Blue Jays have runners in the corners. Donaldson in at 3rd. 3rd hit of the series for Encarnacion, his first since game 1.
Just so impressive. Encarnacion is one of the most aggressive swingers on the club, but he worked that at bat to his 6th pitch by staying off some pitches just off the plate. Well, this team playing with so much confidence right now.
They are, and they're seeing the ball great right now. And I know shadows are coming in, but this is a great hitter's park. Got a great hitter's batting eye where you pick the ball up. You see that in center field, how dark that is. That's just a white ball coming out of that darkness there. It's a beautiful thing to hit. Now the shadows are starting to come in, but I don't think they take a full effect right now because the pitcher's in the shadow as well.
Colabello takes ball 1. He's 2 for 2 today, a home run, and then an RBI double in the 3rd. Harold, you mentioned his heritage earlier. His dad, Lou, played baseball, represented Italy in the 1984 Olympics.
Yeah, we were talking about that. He went over to Italy and played, and Omar Minaya, former Mets GM, he played over there at the same time against his dad, and he met his dad met his mom over there. So he actually was born in Italy, and they would go back in the summers. He spent a lot of time, because I said, so you weren't just playing on just some team when you're playing for Team Italy in the WBC. He said, no, that's home for me. He teaches guys Italian on the team. So he's got the genes, he's got the blood, he's the real deal. The Italian stallion. This ain't no movie.
And a tremendous story. Spent a number of years playing in the independent leagues.
Yes.
One, 2 from Lewis. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You talk about the journey of R.A. Dickey. This guy's a veritable Jack Kerouac. 7 years he spent playing independent baseball in the Can-Am League. Yeah, he was a second baseman for the old Cardinals. Colabello was making $2,200 a month. 7 years toiling. Completely reworked his swing and never gave up the dream. And here he is in the postseason.
Jack never did that.
May have written about it. First and third, 2 outs, full count. Playoff pitch from Lewis. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Inning comes to an end. Thanks to those of you who've been watching on MLB Network. Switch over to FS1 for the remainder of Game 4. A great day of MLB postseason action continues later tonight with an NLDS doubleheader on TBS. Cardinals and Cubs, and then Dodgers and Mets. Game 3 of both series, each tied 1 game apiece.
Boy, Tom, I can't remember a time where we've had so many storylines in each one of these playoff games.
Great matchups, great baseball, and road teams got off to an incredible start in these postseason games.
Road teams winning both wild card games. Road team has won all 3 games in this series.
I want to see Jake Arrieta tonight. I want to see Citi Field.
Matt Harvey on the mound for the Mets. Earlier, one of the biggest late inning comebacks in postseason history by the Kansas City Royals.
Well, they needed a big inning too. They've been struggling this whole series, kind of churning their way through to try to knock the Astros off. That's a big win to send it back, not only to tie it and not be over, but for their offense to get something going and now have a game 5 at home. That was big for the Royals.
Facing elimination on the road. What a tough-minded bunch. You saw that starting with the wild card game against Oakland last year against John Lester, 7th inning.
Moreland fouls it back.
I find it amusing looking at the game here. Even with R.A. Dickey throwing and a knuckleball, and you don't know where it's necessarily going to go if a guy's going to square it up, they still put the shift on. You still got the second baseman out in right field. The third baseman's moved over to shortstop, and
Moreland down on strikes. We spoke between innings with Blue Jays skipper John Gibbons. We asked John if today's performance resembles what he was used to watching from his Jays during the regular season.
Yeah, that's you know, really that's who we are, and you know, we started that from day 1 of the season, and it really never cooled off, and that's kind of our identity. It's good to see her, especially early in the game. You know, give us a little breathing room here, and I think Dickey's throwing well. You know, we just got to keep an eye and make sure we don't get too many guys, you know, too much traffic on base. And we're trying to find that perfect time, maybe where you go to Price or somebody else. So,
John, we saw David Price get up in the 1st inning in standby mode. How close were you to pulling the trigger?
No, what he was doing there, I mean, he was up on his own, just kind of, you know, getting a little feel, getting loose a little bit. Yeah, we looked down there ourselves and said, did anybody call him? You know, but that's kind of his routine coming out of the bullpen to, you know, stay ready just in case.
hey, John, being around this club, they were so loose today. They're talking about their haircuts and everything else. It's got to be a fun bunch.
Yeah, Harold, it really is. You know, I've been saying all year, there's something different about this club. And, you know, I've been on many different clubs, managed and played, and some really good ones, some bad ones. But there's just something different about this group, and they show up to play every day, and they don't get rattled, and have a ton of confidence. So hopefully we can close this one out somehow today, and then maybe hopefully move on.
Thanks, John. Good luck.
Okay, guys.
John Gibbons, his only prior postseason experience in the major leagues, 1986. He was the bullpen catcher for the world champion Mets as Hamilton grounds out a 1-2-3-4 for R.A. Dickey. Today's telecast is sponsored by the Quesarito and Volcano Quesarito Big Boxes. Grab them at Taco Bell. By DirecTV, call 1-800-DirecTV. And by Esurance, official sponsor of Major League Baseball. We move to the 5th here in Arlington. First pitch from Lewis, popped to shallow left center by Tulowitzki. And the catch is made by the left fielder Josh Hamilton for out number 1. Tulowitzki 0 for 3.
You know, Kenny, we heard John Gibbons talk about there's something different about this team. He made no bones about it when I talked to him that last year that was a fractured clubhouse. And he said things began to change in spring training when two new guys showed up. Josh Donaldson, and the guy in the batter's box right now, Russell Martin. Just complete grinders and gamers. I think they set the tone in spring training with this team. It took a while to kick in. Really the last 2 months of the season is when they hit their stride. The impact, not just the talent of those two guys, but the leadership qualities of Donaldson and Martin have carried this team a long way.
Martin walked his last time up. And he will head down to first after taking that pitch from Lewis. And for more on the leadership of Russell Martin and what he has meant to the Blue Jays this season. Downstairs to Kent.
Well, guys, one thing that impressed the Jays an awful lot was Martin's willingness and ability to learn how to catch R.A. Dickey. Deanna Navarro, the backup catcher, doesn't catch Dickey. So for most of the season, Martin was the primary guy, and we've talked about this. It's not easy. It's a mental grind. It's a physical grind. The first time Martin worked with Dickey in spring training, his arm was burning after 30 pitches. He wasn't used to moving his glove so much. He had to learn to relax his arm, but as the season has progressed, he's had even better numbers with Dickey than his other catcher, Josh Thole.
And Thole came over with Dickey from the Mets, so he had a lot more experience behind the plate with Dickey.
Well, what a luxury for the organization to not have to carry a guy because he can catch a bullpen, you know, and a lot of times because he can catch a knuckleballer, I should say. A lot of times you have that because you have that one player, but also it speaks volumes to me about Russell Martin not worried about his personal statistics. You know, in this day and age where framing and we're judge catchers by so many other measurements, instead of that leadership, which really, that catcher position, you are basically the captain of the infield. You're the lead. You're leading the team. And when you have a guy that can do all those things and those intangibles, that goes a long way for a team. Throw the numbers out.
You're right about trying to catch a knuckleball pitcher. We'll go back to Jason Varitek trying to catch Tim Wakefield in a postseason game. He had not been used to it at all. I mean, he was running back to the screen so often. He was on a first-name basis with the fans in the front row.
Pilar, left field. Hamilton, 2 out. And Russell Martin, guys, spent the last 2 seasons in Pittsburgh. Who was the Pirates' bench coach? Jeff Bannister, the Rangers manager. And we asked Bannister prior to game 1 about his 2 years with Martin. Big smile came across his face when we mentioned Russell's name. He said he's off the charts, heart and soul guy, but he wants to beat you at all costs.
Let me tell you, they put a lot on the plate of the catcher in Pittsburgh. Jeff Bannister had a lot to do that, worked very closely with Russell Martin in all the analytics and game preparation. They met before game 1. There was a real strong bond and big hug between the two of them.
Ball 1 to Goins, who's a Texas native. He was born in Round Rock, which also happens to be where the Texas Rangers AAA affiliate is located. Went on to Dallas Baptist. Still looking for his first hit of the series. 0 for 2 today, 0 for 12 in the ALDS.
Yeah, but he had a big at bat early in the series. I thought was very important to the Blue Jays. I know yesterday he hit into a double play, but I think he's going to come on and catch up with those talents. I really like this kid. I mean, defensively, I still think he's one. He can move to shortstop right now and be mentioned in the top defenders in the league right now today.
He certainly fits that bill at second base. You know, I was talking to Omar Vizquel, infield coach for the Tigers. Great Gold Glove shortstop. Talking about second base in the American League, the Gold Glove. Dustin Pedroia missing a lot of games with injuries. This is the guy, Ryan Goins, that the great Omar mentioned, that should definitely get consideration.
Well, he'll get some consideration, but I still think he played enough at short that to kind of take him out of the second base conversation. You know, when Tulo went down, he was a shortstop. When early in the year he played some short before that. When Reyes was injured, remember when he was hurt with the Jays a little bit, so that might knock him out. There's still a guy named Cano had a pretty good year defensively in Seattle.
Goins draws a 2-out walk. Blue Jays with first and second, and Revere stepping to the plate.
But Tom, there's so many awards now, but the Gold Glove is still pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely. So like Maddox, the pitching coach, kind of peering out in that bullpen. Orndorff has been up for a while. Should be just about ready.
The danger, the trap for the Rangers. You want to play to try to get back in it, but if you don't get back in it, you got the luxury of knowing that you're going to go to game 5. You know, the season doesn't end today for you if you lose the game. It ends for the Blue Jays. But you got to be prepared. If we continue to go on, we got to have enough hands on deck to win that game and move forward.
And game 5 would be played Wednesday late afternoon in Toronto.
The longer Beltre stands out there, the more uncomfortable I think he looks. Just watching him. Watch how he gets down into his crouch here. He doesn't even bend down. He stands. He'll get and put his hands on his knees. That's about the lower he will get. I think he's a huge story.
Beltre came out of the game in the 3rd inning of game 1. Sat out game 2 and game 3 last night. Late addition to the starting lineup today. There's Hanser Alberto, who had the game-winning hit in the 14th inning back in game 2.
Yeah, the kid played great. I was really impressed with him with a little bit of time that he got. And he's not Adrian Beltre, but he did play nice in his short stint.
Especially the situation he was thrown into. That was a kid who got 2 at-bats in the month of September. And all of a sudden, game 1 of the postseason, go get him, kid. Our star third baseman's hurt.
Well, if this series goes to a game 5, the ALDS continues on Wednesday with a doubleheader on FS1. Rangers and Blue Jays coverage begins at 3 Eastern. Game 5 of the Astros and Royals 8 Eastern on FS1. This will be the 60th pitch thrown by Lewis. Out of the pen, runners go, and Revere shoots it into shallow center. Coming on is DeShields to make the play. So the Blue Jays strand 2 in the inning. R.A. Dickey, who will turn 41 later this month. He and the Blue Jays have a 6-run lead. Our Maytag trivia answer: what is the lowest team batting average by an American League Division Series winner? You don't have to go that far back. The Royals last season.
Wow.
Batting average of 198.
You didn't give me a chance to guess.
Speaks to how good that bullpen was and is.
Disappointed, Kenny.
Gave you a couple innings, though. Come on.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to give it away to the fans this time around. Last time you jumped on me when I gave an answer up too early.
Well, so you knew that one. Is that what you're telling us? You were sitting on it for an inning and a half?
Sitting on it.
Odor down the right field line into the 5th row. R.A. Dickey's allowed just 1 run on 4 hits over the first 4 innings. Today he becomes the oldest pitcher to start in his postseason debut.
You see the grip with the fingernails dug into the seams of the baseball and the flight with little spin. It's all about fluid dynamics, letting the air pass over the seams of the baseball. The air transitions from smooth to turbulent, letting the ball dance around in the air.
I'll tell you what, I think about all that when I'm hitting, I'm done.
It's like, to me, watching him throw, it's like someone with a paper airplane throwing it across the room and trying to get it out a window. It floats, it dives, it sails, it swoops, and somehow he has control of it.
Look out. And that's the put away. He can throw it hard like that. It looks like a slider. As the hitter, the key to hitting a knuckleball, and you've seen these young hitters struggle with him. He pulls this down hard. It's going to run in on the hitter's feet. That's the foul ball right there.
People may be looking at that and saying, how is that a knuckleball? He's throwing with his fingernails. We're not sure exactly the first guy to throw the pitch, but the one who really popularized it, Eddie Seacott, back in 1908, he did throw it with his knuckles on the baseball. That's where the term knuckleball came from.
Odor reaches out and fouls it off down the left field line. A look out into the Blue Jays pen, and there he is, David Price.
Well, that's not a casual catch this time. He's coming in the game. We talked about it before. Once he starts throwing that hard, he is coming in.
Sounds like he's on his own program, though. From when we talked to John Gibbons, he was surprised when he got up just to loosen up in the first inning. But there's some conviction in that warm-up right now.
Yeah, and that's not his call at this point in time. This is a Gibbons call, and they're going with him.
Pilar in center. And John Gibbons told us before the game, if Price gets up today, he's going in. And if Price goes in, then Marcus Stroman would start game 5.
That to me, this is all a telling story. Look, last night they got him up in the 7th and in the 8th inning. So you're thinking, well, what's that mean? They said he was still available for game 5. Stroman's their guy right now. And I just think you look at the matchup, he struggled, David Price that is, against the Rangers. And I think they made a decision. They may not want to come out and say it. That's how I see it. That they basically have said Stroman's our guy in game 5.
I mean, it's so hard to follow when you're playing elimination games, the thinking of the manager. It's like 3D chess, or maybe there's an extra king or a queen on the board that shouldn't be there. Everything changes, but I do think no matter what happens with Price, whether he's used in this game or starts game 5, I do believe the confidence they have in Marcus Stroman is just incredible. He threw the ball very well after coming out a little amped up in game 2 of the first inning.
Well, Tulo's looking to spin and throw on this ball. He had a good read on it. And you make so many decisions when you're going after the ground ball. The way he presents his body is so he can catch and spin. You see, he's already getting ready to spin, even though the ball kicked off him. Now back to the Price conversation, Tom. I just think it's at this point in time of the year, they're like, look, he came ready to go. You give me the ball yesterday, give him the ball today. I would not be surprised if he doesn't even come out of the bullpen game 5 if they need him.
No, that wouldn't surprise me. It might surprise me a little bit to see him in a game holding 6 runs if you're Toronto. And again, understand, elimination game, you take absolutely nothing for granted, especially with this Texas team in this ballpark.
Down to Ken Rosenthal. Ken, are you surprised to see Price up and throwing here?
No, Kenny. And I talked to him last night, and basically what he said is, yeah, I'm 30 years old, but I'm a young 30, and my body bounces back quickly. He threw 18 pitches in the bullpen last night, got up twice, was ready to come into the game. But if we see him here, even if we see him here, I don't know that we can rule out seeing him in relief in game 5, assuming with the extra day, his body does indeed bounce back quickly.
I totally agree, Ken. I think what they've done, the decision they've made is David Price gives us 3 games, basically. You look at last night, he warmed up, he was ready to come in. Tonight, this game right here, and now he will be in the pen, I think, for game 5. So Stroman's not going to give you that. And between the two, they basically said, look, we can get 2 games out of David Price, get him in today, and maybe 5 if we need it. We'll take it.
1-1 to DeShields. And again, Gibbons was pretty definitive in our meeting with him prior to the game. He said if Price gets up today, he's going in. And if he gets in, it's Stroman to start game 5.
R.A. Dickey's throwing the ball pretty good, though. Done a nice job of keeping their hitters off balance. You're back to the top of the order.
Full count.
Big swing by DeShields right there. He's been playing with what the Rangers are calling a sore left knee. What they've told me, people in the organization, that he actually has a slight tear in his MCL. Will need a procedure after the season. Bothers him mostly when he slows down, not when he's at full speed in terms of his running.
Pilar moving to his left. Long run. He makes the catch to retire DeShields for out number 2.
What a weapon, him in the outfield. He can go get him. You know, Bautista basically went to back up instead of go get it. See where Pilar's at, right in center field? Watch how far he goes to get this ball. And the confidence of him to catch that ball so much, Bautista says you got it.
And here we go.
So R.A. Dickey, in his first career postseason start, will exit with his Blue Jays leading 7-1. Here comes David Price. Here's David Price, who started game 1 for the Blue Jays. His first relief appearance since a regular season game in October of 2010 with the Tampa Bay Rays. But back in 2008, 5 appearances out of the bullpen. He closed out the ALCS against the Red Sox.
That was his hello, my name is David Price moment, introducing himself by sending the Rays to the World Series.
So R.A. Dickey cannot pick up the win. He goes 4 2/3 in his postseason debut. On the first pitch from Price, Chu flies out to Pilar in center field to end the inning. A smile as David Price heads to the Blue Jays dugout. 7-1 Toronto. Game 4 of the American League Division Series here in Arlington, with the Blue Jays leading the Rangers 7-1. Toronto scoring all 7 of their runs over the first 3 innings. 3 home runs for the Blue Jays. Here's Ross Ohlendorf, the veteran right-hander who pitched an inning and a third in last night's game for the Rangers. In to face Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion.
Donaldson's home run really set the trend early after the bunt base hit by Ben Revere, and he stepped up, hit a opposite field 2-run homer. Now, I emphasize opposite field because that's kind of like the dagger of I can cover anything you throw up here type of stuff to a pitcher when you go opposite field for a home run.
Having fun now.
And they all are.
See the smile right there with a 6-run lead, 6th inning.
Rangers winning each of the first 2 games north of the border, 5-3 and 6-4. Blue Jays coming back with a 5-1 victory here in Arlington last night. Lead this game 7-1.
It was interesting looking at the face of R.A. Dickey as Price picked up that last out. I'm thinking, you know, John Gibbons, he's a manager, he's not a screenwriter. In a perfect world, Dickey waits till he's age 40. He's 1 out away from qualifying for a victory. See a strikeout with a 6-run lead, and he gets pulled from the game. An elimination game.
I'm sorry, it's 7-1. R.A. Dickey sitting over there going, are you kidding me? That was that look to me. You're coming to get me now?
Well, it's interesting because John Gibbons had Price up with the 7th and the 8th innings last night with less of a lead and waiting for 2 runners to get on base. Bigger lead earlier in the game, 1 runner on, and he went to Price. And there's the look on the face of R.A. Dickey.
When the inning ended.
A lot of years went into this start today.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great. Thanks.
Both R.A. Dickey and David Price were born in the Nashville area. They both won a Cy Young Award the same year, 2012. Compared notes during the offseason back in Nashville. And it's Price. This is Dickey, who goes 4 2/3 in his first career postseason start here in Game 4.
Cool.
It's not bad. You're facing elimination. You get to use 2 Cy Young winners.
Bautista, right field. Chu takes a couple of steps in. 2 away. Follow every pitch of the postseason with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Stay connected with highlights, replay reviews, scores, pitch tracking, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download the At Bat app.
That's a spirited Rangers fan. Have you had what he was eating though? That dessert?
The broomstick. That's not a dessert. That
was the boomstick.
That's a week's worth of meals in a box with handles on it. Anytime you order food at the ballpark and it comes with handles, I'd say it's a little excessive.
Still tracking the game on the app. The food doesn't come with it, but it's a good app. Scores, dude.
It's got the hat to match, too.
The 0-2 to Encarnacion.
Behlendorf has been a weapon. He has really reinvented himself out of the bullpen. Throwing mid-90s. The windup is, I love it. It's taking us way back old school.
Right center. A base hit for Encarnacion. It rolls to the wall. And at second with a stand-up double. His second hit of the day.
Here's the windup. That was a nice piece of hitting, but I want to go back to the windup. Watch how this is so old. He takes the wingspan right here, and then watch the foot. He disengages, goes back, re-engage, step back again. Tom, I know you'd like to talk about how certain guys set on one side of the rubber to get an angle. He goes all over the place.
Once, twice, 3 times he leaves the rubber and then goes back to it.
That's pretty cool. Got to keep a little bit of the little kid in you playing ball.
Colabello takes a called strike. 2 for 3. First inning home run. Third inning RBI double.
Now it's been interesting the last couple days. Yesterday they had a situation similar to this. Justin Smoke usually hits in this situation, goes in and plays defense. And I know it's the 6th. He made the pitching change already, but they haven't done it the last couple days, so maybe we're seeing a little bit of a change in Gibbons' approach.
Smoke came in the 8th inning last night for defensive purposes. Top of the 6th, 7-1 Jays.
I think you're right. It's a little early to go to your defensive specialist, and Colabello looks very comfortable at the plate. He's seeing the ball extremely well.
One strike.
Well, that's part of being able to pay attention to detail too. You see guys' body language, you see their confidence, you see all those things in their movements, and that's really sometimes supersedes. May not have the numbers, may not have the things you want. That's where that gut comes in. I got a feeling this guy will do something, and it's based a lot on how a guy may be carrying himself. Swing.
Jake Diekman in the Rangers' pen. Another foul off to the right side.
You talked about Colabello's journey to the big leagues. In January of 2012 was when he finally got an invite to the big leagues. The Minnesota Twins paid $1,000 for his rights out of the Can-Man League. And then actually last year, a team in Korea wanted to pay him $1 million. And he said, no, I want to stay and give the big leagues my best shot.
Colabello down on strikes. Encarnacion stranded on second. Middle of the 6th at Arlington. Still 7-1 Jays. Bottom 6 at Arlington. Adrian Beltre batting for the 3rd time today. He has 2 hits. Despite playing with the severe pain, the back strain. Came out of game 1 of the 3rd inning. Did not play in games 2 and 3. But he's managed to bat 1,000 in the series. He's 3 for 3.
I gotta believe this is his last at bat, unless this is a big run inning for Texas. Don't forget, this guy already has a mangled ligament and dislocated finger on the left hand. He's got a special pad in his hand just to hit. Keeps his index finger off the bat. And now the back spasms. Just incredible the pain that this guy plays with.
And this is the first time he's looked like Adrian Beltre in the box, so believe it or not, all the things we've just been discussing, but he's dancing in the box, and when he's dancing in the box, that means he feels pretty good. Watching him in the field, not comfortable. We watched him on the base path. Right here, I don't know, maybe he loosened up in between innings, but he feels pretty good right now.
Right field, Bautista back on the track, makes the catch to retire Beltre.
The swing looks good, and the running is what bothers you. You can see he's arching his back, like, you know, you get that tight lower back, and you have to arch your body just to feel like you can move. That's what he looks like to me. That's a beautiful swing, but he's not able to finish it, and that's the difference. Now watch him, and here comes the clinch your back here so I can get through the jog down to first. But he definitely looks better, no doubt.
Prince Fielder 0 for 2. Bounce to the right side. Goins waiting. 2 out. Well, a great day of MLB postseason action continues on TBS, just underway. Jake Arrieta and Michael Wacha. Tremendous pitching matchup. Game 3, Cubs and Cardinals. And that game will be followed on TBS by the Mets and the Dodgers. Game 3 from Citi Field. What a comeback by the Kansas City Royals. Earlier today, they trailed 6-2 in Houston, heading into the 8th inning.
Yeah, that was survival mode. But you know what's funny? This game is so different. You think, okay, now they got the momentum. They're going to win this series. And there's no doubt that the cliche line is momentum's the next game pitcher, and that is so true.
Really, it's a postseason of aces as well. Arrieta, to me, has cast the longest shadow over this postseason as the most dominating pitcher. I have to go back to Orel Hershiser in '88, Mike Scott in '86. Where you start thinking about his start if you're the opposing team the day before. You just know he's looming out there. And now we have a game where another ace is actually pitching middle relief for the Blue Jays, David Price.
So we expect Marcus Stroman would be the Game 5 starter, as per manager John Gibbons. Moreland called down on strike, so Price has faced 4 batters, has retired them all.
The Price is right today. He's dealing.
We head to the 7th. Our Geico in-game box score for the Blue Jays. The big story, the 3 home runs over the first 2 innings. Donaldson, Colabello, and Pilar. 2 hits apiece for Encarnacion, Colabello, and Pilar. 4th pitcher of the day for the Rangers is the left-hander, the ex-Philly, Jake Diekman, who has retired all 12 Blue Jays he has faced in this series over the first 2 games. Here's Tulowitzki, 0 for 3, the only Blue Jay starter who has not yet reached base today. Well, he had the big blow in the 6th inning last night, the 3-run home run, which extended the Blue Jays lead to 5-0. They would win the game 5-1.
Little surprised that Beltre stays in the game. I guess Jeff Bannister, the manager, he took note of that Kansas City comeback earlier today. But again, trusting a veteran player who's played with a lot of pain, got a lot of experience there. It's almost a basketball coach leaving a guy on the floor with 1 more foul to foul out of the game. Confidence that he will play under control and not risk further injury.
I'm looking at all these little subtle changes in the game. It seems like every one of these guys, they take a swing, they hack, they foul back, they yell, "Oh!" Back in the day, you didn't scream when you took a big hack and just missed it on a pitcher.
What did you do?
I said, "Excuse me," because the next one's coming at your ear.
Especially if Nolan Ryan was out there.
Tulowitzki went around. 1 away.
It's a nasty slider. We've been talking about Diekman's stuff the whole series. He's the guy that as you start looking to next season and through the rest of this postseason, but next season you sit there and you realize he got out of Philadelphia. Not a lot of people knew about him. This guy's a weapon.
He's a weapon because he gets out righties as well, if not better, than left-handers. You know, I mentioned Nolan Ryan. Pitching, a lot of it, the luck of genetics. Nolan Ryan had that great lower half. Pedro Martinez, the really long, supple fingers to spin the baseball. Jake Diekman, he's got really ridiculously long arms. He's 6'4". His wingspan is 6'8". He told me going in to just buy a shirt off the shelf, a dress shirt, forget about it. But the long levers that he has works as an advantage for a guy, especially the low release point he has, the arm angle he creates. Just a nightmare for any kind of a hitter, right or left.
He reminds you of Chris Sale. An awful lot. Looking at him right there, long, skinny, lanky, and then he starts the delivery out here and the arm angle you talk about, and he's got the cheddar. 97.
That's why he reminds me of Andrew Miller as well. Very simple delivery, almost just falls to the batter with the tremendous arm speed and the angle he creates on right-handed hitters, the ball bearing in on them.
Martin into the right field corner, off the wall. Fielded by Chu. Martin in at second with a double.
They've made an adjustment, and Texas is going to have to adjust back. You can't live on the outside half the whole series against a certain team, particularly these guys. We talked about in game one the uniqueness of the Blue Jays hitters is they don't strike out a lot. They have power, but they're not the power guys you can just punch out all the time. So the adjustments we've seen them make, even in today's game, the home runs opposite field right here, Martin opposite field to the wall. Those are the things that Texas is going to have to adjust to if we get to a game 5.
Yeah, you see that was a miss by Diekman. Target set up inside, left the ball out over the plate.
7th extra base hit of the game for the Blue Jays.
And they are not missing mistakes.
No. But he's a guy, if there's any vulnerability for Diekman, his delivery does not tell you he's going to be able to pitch into right-handers. From where he comes at, that slider is going to be a backdoor slider. The fastball is going to be a fastball outside. Jim Lefevre, a guy I played with in Seattle for a number of years, he'd always say, pick up the lane that the pitcher pitches in. This guy's a one-lane pitcher into left-handers away from the right-hander. That's where he seems to be living right now, in that outside lane to a righty, inside lane to a left-hander.
And that double off the bat of Martin, the first hit Diekman has allowed in this series. The Blue Jays had been 0 for 13 against Diekman prior to that at bat. Diekman coming over from the Phillies in late July at the deadline, along with Cole Hamels. One out, top of the 7th inning. Martin the runner on second. The 1-2 to Pilar, up the middle, base hit into center field. Martin around third, heading home. The throw is cut off. Blue Jays lead 8-1. Third run batted in of the game for Kevin Pilar.
Hotter than a pistol. And Pilar is living up the middle. You remember early in the series back in Toronto when they drew the infield in and he was at the plate. I said what that does, it allows a hitter now to think more back up the middle, and he got a base hit. His stroke has been right there. The home run today was left center field. But when you got an approach to go back up the middle, you're on a lot of pitches and you're consistently being able to drive that baseball. It's hot right now.
Oh, this lineup, I mean, it's like playing whack-a-mole. It doesn't matter where they are. You think you got one, somebody else pops up. Doesn't matter where they are in the lineup.
Pilar with 7 hits in the series, 3 today. He's 7 for 17 in the ALDS.
Wow.
There's Goins, 0 for 2 with a walk.
It's going to be a tough at bat into the lefty in that lane. See where he set up. This ball's going to be busted right underneath Goins' hands if he puts it where he wants it. I just think he's tough on left-handers. He steps at you. So until you see him a few times, you're going to think he's stepping to his target, and that target is you because of the way he steps.
Keone Kela up in the Rangers pen. Texas starter Derek Holland unable to make it out of the third inning. Colby Lewis, who led the Rangers in wins with 17 this season, pitched 3 innings out of the pen. Then Russ Ohlendorf, now Jake Diekman. Throwing intercepted from Torinos. And out at second is Pilar.
Slid past the bag. We've watched this happen on this field. Remember, that's how the Angels had lost that game, sliding, or won the game, sliding past the bag. He'll slide past the bag here too.
T-Mobile wants fans to share their passion, be part of the biggest 7th inning stretch. Post your photos and videos with hashtag the Big 7th and hashtag contest for a chance to win tickets to World Series Game 4. It's Game 4 of the American League Division Series. Blue Jays with an 8-1 lead. Toronto 50-50, 500 record over their first 100 games. They were 7 games back in their division through July 27th, but then the big deals acquiring Tulowitzki, Price, and Revere at the deadline. Since July 31st, second best record in baseball. They wind up leading the majors in runs scored and home runs, win the division title, their first trip to the postseason since 1993. They lost the first 2 games of this series at home, but here in Arlington, a .323 batting average in games 3 and 4, 13 runs, 10 extra base hits, 4 home runs, including 3 in the early innings today.
Well, this is the Blue Jays baseball, no question. Let's not forget the way that Gallardo and Hamels pitched them in Game 1 is the blueprint for this team. They pitched to that blueprint exceedingly well. And these last 2 games, they just didn't have the command, talking about the Rangers pitchers, to keep this lineup in check. And when they left the ball over the plate, my goodness, anywhere in the lineup capable of doing damage.
David Price has faced 4 batters since replacing R.A. Dickey with 2 outs in the 5th. He's retired all 4. Strike 1 to Andrus, who was 0 for 2. Rangers without a base hit since the 3rd inning.
So let's say David Price finishes this game. He gets the W, right?
He would.
He would at scorer's discretion, but he certainly has pitched long enough and effectively enough to get that W. A guy who, as a starting pitcher, lost all 5 times in the postseason.
Base hit off the bat of Andrus, leading off the 7th for the Rangers.
The Rangers get back in it with a big ball. There's a changeup from David Price. Elvis gets out, stays with it. Nice hand-eye coordination. But that's how the Rangers get back in it. You got to get a big ball to get you into that bullpen and force some action.
I think I said Price had 5 losses as a starter, actually 6,
yeah,
including that Game 1 start.
Mike Napoli, pinch hitting for Josh Hamilton.
You got a number wrong, Tom? I ain't believing it.
Mark down the date and time.
I'm marking it.
I was trying to cut the guy a break. David Price, 0-6. Ouch.
Whew, what is the date today? The 12th of October, 2015. I'm writing this in the book.
I'll tell you what, though, he looks comfortable. Just dropped into the middle of the game, you know?
Sure does. You know, the other night he said He was a little amped up, a little nervous. Looks like he's relaxed. And sometimes guys come out of a bullpen, you take them out, that natural pressure's off of you. You got a nice win. Get your work in. And that's what it looks like here. Maybe he's able to regain that feel again.
Sam Dyson in the Rangers pen. Leadoff man on for Texas for the first time today. Only their third leadoff base hit in the series.
Very good two-strike hitter. Napoli fouls off a ton of pitches. 2 strikes, you'll see him shorten the leg kick, choke up on the bat. The other thing he does so well, he's such a back foot hitter. Very difficult to get him out on his front foot on a changeup. He lets the ball travel deep in the batter's box.
I think if you throw him a changeup, you're doing him a favor.
Double play ball. Blue Jays turn 2.
Pretty turn right there, those two working together. But I want to show you how Tulowitzki comes across the bag right here. Get up, put something on it. It's beautiful.
That sometimes is the price for letting that ball travel to get deep. Did something hard on the hands, got in his kitchen.
Well, that's why I said you're doing him a favor in the changeup when you got a guy throwing this hard that can get deep in when you got a 1-2 count.
So 2 here's Odor, who was the big story for the Rangers over the first 2 games of this series. He scored 5 runs in the 2 games in Toronto, both Texas victories.
Yeah, the one thing that surprises me with Rougned Odor is where the defense plays him. It's almost shocking to me that they put this kind of shift on him, and I think that's something he's got to work on in the offseason. If he's able to hit that ball the other way, he's going to dominate this league.
Yeah, he loves to hook the baseball. Even the ball away, he likes to hook. The place where he does not cover well is the pitch down and in. But Odor, I'm telling you, he's a guy who's 5'7", thinks he's 6'7". A lot of these Rangers use very big bats. It's a guy who uses a 35-inch bat, Odor. Napoli does, but Napoli's got a few more LBs on him than this guy right here.
Odor just 21 years of age.
That heavy of a bat is a throwback mentality. Most guys are swinging 32, 31 ounces today. And really the philosophy and thought behind a heavier bat is if you can just touch it, the ball's going to jump.
And that's the swing I'm talking about. That ball's away and he's trying to hook the baseball.
That big a bat, man. Once it gets going, you can't stop it.
Odor hit 16 home runs this season despite spending a month in the minor leagues. The only other second baseman in baseball history under the age of 22 to hit that many home runs, Bill Mazeroski, 1958.
Wow, I was going to say somebody like Bobby Grich or something. Maz. There it is, right there. That's all he's got to do.
Odor listens to Harold, heading for 2.
Not now. I'm telling you, if he adds that to his game, and now you force that defense to open up, it opens up the right-hand side for him as well as down the line. You're talking about a guy that's going to go from 270, 280 to 310, 320. With his power and his ability, he's going to walk because he has power. And if he can shoot a ball there, that's a double. He hit a ground ball double. I mean, he's got to look around and open that up. He's got to add that to his repertoire.
First extra base hit for the Rangers today, and the first hit by someone other than Chu and Beltre.
Yeah.
And Andrus here in the 7th, of course. So David Price working in relief here in game 4. Has allowed 2 hits in the 7th. He retired the Rangers in order in the 6th.
And that little walkout right there by Russell Martin was, how you feeling? You okay? Do we need to get anybody up? No, I'm good. They're not even moving in the bullpen right now. And I think it's interesting, Tom, with both managers being former catchers. And when you have Russell Martin be able to go out right there and come back and look at Gibby, he's good. That trust that both these guys have, because they've been catchers themselves, to have that eye and be able to have that conversation, that rapport between their catchers, it's huge.
Well, I think there's no question Bannister's still playing to win this game here in the 7th inning, even down 7. But even if you don't win the game, make David Price grind through this outing here. Try to take something away from what he can give Gibbons in a game 5 out of the bullpen.
Chirinos at the plate. He took Price deep in game 1. They were teammates in Tampa a couple of years back.
Yeah, I think that's interesting dynamic I've watched with David Price too. He was so tight with those guys from Tampa and in that organization. The Rays have been able to beat up on him a little bit, and I think it's because he's so dang nice. You know, they know he's not going to knock me down. I'm going to get in here and swing as hard as I can. Chirinos is trying to leave on him. That's something that will come with time as he distances himself from that organization.
His former battery mate. Chirinos with a base hit into left field. Here comes Odor. He scores the Rangers' second run of the game. It's now 8-2 Toronto, and for the Rangers, their first hit with a runner in scoring position in the last 2 games.
Well, back-to-back hits, and Tom, I go directly to your point. You're looking at right now, if you're Texas, we may not win this game, but we're going to knock David Price out of game 5.
String together at bats, grind it out as if this game was 0-0. Changeup gets him out front. Nice job by Chirinos to make the adjustment, not get beat.
Well, we watched now a couple base hits on David Price's changeup, and you know that's the pitch that's in jeopardy. Can he come out and throw 95 out of the bullpen after being up in game 7, being up the other day in the 7th and 8th inning, and come back today? Yeah, he's got that, but the touch and feel is what goes away when guys are fatigued, and that was a little bit too hard on the changeup. At least that's what I've been able to see with pitchers when they come back on short rest, or in this situation like him, what he's doing now. The touch and feel.
The Shields 0 for 3. 2 outs. Chirinos the runner on first after driving in his 3rd run of the series. Blue Jays looking to force a game 5. They lead by 6.
And one thing he's done a good job of, David Price, pounding the strike zone with the lead.
Tom, I tell you what, this is what, Monday, and game 5 is on Wednesday. If you're asking me, David Price is out of game 5 now. You let him finish this one for you. He doesn't come back in 2 days. No way.
I would try to tell that to David Price. You know, he's game 5. He's going to say he's not available, and he does have a very resilient arm.
Yeah, you're saying not even out of the pen, Harold?
Yeah, I'm saying not at all. And I look at it this way. The Blue Jays, if you're going to go ahead and win, I think it's one thing to be in a divisional series, whether you're the Rangers or the Blue Jays. Let me get this clear for fans on both sides. If you're going to win a World Series, and in Toronto's place, they're not winning the series unless David Price is able to pitch as a starter. Not just, I'm coming back 2 days, rest game 5. Then that knocks him out of the next round. You got to be able to use your whole roster if you're going to win.
Well, Price has gone 2 1/3 out of the pen in game 4. We head to the 8th in Arlington. Today's telecast is sponsored by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. By Cricket Wireless, something to smile about. And by Mini, the 0 to 15 sales event is happening now. Ready for dinner, Harold?
I'm looking at that, but nah, I'm not ready for that.
No?
That'll tear you up right there.
There's Will Venable, now in left field for the Rangers. And the 5th pitcher of the day for Texas is the right-hander Sam Dyson. He will face the top of the Blue Jays order here in the 8th. Revere leads off, then Donaldson, then Bautista. Toronto with an 8-2 lead. Kansas City forcing a game 5 in the other ALDS. How about this, guys? The Royals, with that 4-run deficit heading into the 8th inning. The only franchise, as Revere shoots one into left center for a base hit, the only franchise in the postseason that has ever trailed by more than 4 runs heading into the 8th and then came back to win the game, the Blue Jays. They did it twice in 1992. They trailed the Phillies by 5 in game 4 of the World Series, and they had also trailed the A's by 5 in game 4 of the ALCS. Entering the 8th inning, came back to win both times, and the Royals with a 4-run deficit heading into the 8th today. So a historic comeback by the Royals. Only the Blue Jays have done it in the postseason.
I was watching when we were up in Toronto, the playback of that Phillies game. Remember that 15-14, the 93 team, Blue Jays in Philadelphia?
I remember that game. That was a long night. I'll tell you the thing I remember about that game.
Revere goes, throw from Torinos. And Revere is in with his 2nd steal of the series.
Here's what I was talking about before, too, keeping that pressure on. All bets off. This is a postseason game. You got to keep going and bury him. What's the difference with Revere? We saw last time he'll dive earlier and the slide. Now he's going to stick the slide and he stays on the bag. That's how Ricky Henderson used to slide. Ricky used to come in so hard that as a defender catching the ball, you thought he might blow your knees out. You see how he hit Odor right there? When Ricky would slide, you basically had to spread your legs and let him slide through your legs, or else he would knock your knees out from underneath you, and you walk away with a bruise.
And they want to challenge this.
Brother, this is the tough part. I was discussing this earlier with Joe Garagiola and with Randy Marsh, and we were talking about this, and hey, there's nothing the umpires can really do to change it. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, what about the spirit of the rule? Well, what happens if you all of a sudden start saying we're going to pick and choose when we can decide if a guy's on the bag, off the bag? The replay is going to tell you what it is, and their job is to call what they see and make the call accordingly.
It was ruled a stolen base on the field, so there must be conclusive evidence to overturn.
I think he's safe on this one.
Yeah, you're not going to win that one, but there is no partial, there is no spirit of the rule when it comes to replay. Once we entered this realm, it's a binary world. You're either safe or out. You're either on the base or you're off the base. It takes any judgment away.
Now the difference with Pilar and with Ben Revere's slide, Pilar was off to the side of the bag. Ben Revere went over the bag. So now that gives you more of an opportunity for your whole body to stick. Now the other thing you can do is start your slide earlier and maybe stop at the bag. But each dirt surface is different, and therefore when you hit and touch, you slide further.
So Revere ruled safe at second. Remember, a review, one of the big storylines coming out of game 2, the 14-inning game won by the Rangers. So the call is confirmed. Donaldson at the plate. Donaldson, the 2-run homer back in the 1st inning. One of 3 home runs hit by the Blue Jays in the first 2 innings. Off Texas starter Derek Holland.
You might, I don't know how they solved the sliding. You got to stick your slides. You just do. You guys are going to have to work on it and perfect it. The sliding in baseball has been terrible all season long, watching all the different teams. And they've got to figure out that adjustment of how to become better sliders, and you got to practice it.
Center field to Shields. One away. Well, Saturday, it's a full day of college football across the Fox networks, highlighted by West Virginia trying to contain the high-octane offense of the second-ranked Baylor Bears on Fox. Saturday on Fox, FS1, the Big Ten Network, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Well, it's flip a coin who's the best team in the country right now, but Baylor is very impressive. Ohio State up and down, inconsistent. They're going to stay up there because they won it last year, but it's going to be an interesting college season. And when they come out and pick when the committee comes out with their listing, I'm looking forward to seeing how they rank people.
Big wins by a couple of the teams here in Texas over the weekend.
So, Kenny, I know I left you hanging going into my Wayback Machine to 1993. That game at Veterans Stadium, 16-13. During all that craziness, I remember a sign being held up by a fan in the stands that said, "We'll pitch middle relief for food." That's how hard it was to find anybody to pitch middle relief and get somebody out.
And they took him up on his offer, right?
Yeah. One of those boomsticks.
Ground ball to the shortstop, Andrews. Bautista is retired. Two away, top of the 8th inning, with the Blue Jays leading 8-2. And should they hold on to this lead, Game 5 of the American League Division Series, we'll have it for you on FS1 Wednesday. Coverage beginning at 3 Eastern, and then it will be Game 5, Astros and Royals, 8 Eastern, Wednesday on FS1. Home teams in the Division Series, 11 and 15 all time in Game 5. Off the glove of Dyson. And Encarnacion is retired. Middle of the 8th here in Arlington. Blue Jays leading by 6. Official caps, hoodies, jackets, and more. Celebrate with your favorite team at the MLB.com shop. Chu leading off for the Rangers here in the bottom of the 8th inning. With the Blue Jays out on top, 8-2. Justin Smoke at first base, replacing Colabello for Toronto as Price delivers. 1-1 on Chu. Ari Dickey, the Blue Jays starter, went 4 2/3, replaced by Price. Pitching into the 8th. Played by Goins. Safe at first is Chu.
What a play. You know, you want to see why I keep talking about this guy's a big league shortstop. The range and the arm. Look, he's starting on the grass. He's not in the outfield grass. Look how far he goes to get this ball. And then I thought, no way this is going to be even close. This is Sin-Shu Chu who hit this ball that can run. Catches it, is able to spin, and has the arm strength to put something on it where it's actually fairly close. What a play.
Great play. You saw the pre-pitch routine reminiscent of Dustin Pedroia jumping to get himself ready as the pitch is being delivered.
This conversation right here is a waste of a little time. Maybe see if someone can get up in the bullpen and get loose and get ready. They're asking a lot of David Price now to bring it home, basically.
John Gibbons clearly made a commitment to David Price regardless of score. It didn't seem as if he was trying to divide innings among games 4 and 5. It was all in right now.
And we mentioned earlier, Gibbons told us before the game, if Price gets in today, Marcus Stroman will start Game 5 on Wednesday. Adrian Beltre still in the game in the 8th inning. Are you surprised?
I'm a little bit surprised. I was going to say very surprised. I'm a little surprised. Stroman, I get it. They love the attitude. The stuff was there. But is he on short rest? So you're looking at him on short rest. And David Price, I know he didn't have the greatest outing Game 1. But I might have had to reverse the roles here. And Stroman was ready to bring him into this game. But to go, I don't know, I guess the question mark for me, Tom, is to have David Price when he came in, it was 7-1.
Yeah, I would definitely watch him very quickly or very closely here, because now they're starting to grind out at bats, making him throw a few more pitches, stress him a little more.
Well, I'd watch the radar gun, and I'd watch his body motion, body language. Is he stressing? How's he feeling? This is more than just a bullpen day now. Once you get in and you're firing in the game situation, adrenaline's flowing, everything else. That's the wear and tear.
Price does have a win in the postseason, but that came in relief back in 2008. 0-6 as a starter, including Game 1 of this series. Popped up, shallow right, off the bat of Beltre. And the catch is made by Bautista for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 8th inning as we head to Los Angeles for a game break with Kevin.
Kenny, 1-1 series Cardinals and Cubs as it gets to Wrigley, and Kyle Schwarber does it again. Second home run of the postseason. Solo shot off Michael Wacha. Arrieta has 3 strikeouts for the Cubs. 1-0. They lead the Cards, bottom 3rd. Kenny.
All right, thanks, Kevin. It is Game 3 with that series tied at 1. Mets and Dodgers also 1 apiece. Game 3 tonight.
Schwarber, a beast, man. Opposite field home run right there, swinging it.
Prince Fielder 0 for 3.
Yeah, I don't want to make too much out of this, but Rangers need this guy to have a good at bat right here. You know, get this guy back to where he wants to be. Postseason obviously has been rough for him, not just this year, but over the course of his career. Even if you're talking about taking something into Game 5, better mindset, feel good, square something up.
John Daniels, general manager of the Texas Rangers. I know he'd like to see a good AB right here too. But he started off so promising. First at bat, I think he got a base hit, didn't he, in first Game 1? Rifled the ball in the right center field for a hit. Nope. You guys are scouring back through your books. Hey, it was a hit in my book.
First inning of Game 2.
Game 2.
Go.
All right. It was one of those games. First AB got a hit.
His only hit in the series is 1 for 15. And has gone 92 plate appearances in the postseason without driving in a run.
It's almost like the effect of Tulowitzki's home run yesterday. You know, he was obviously scuffling. Changeup left over the plate. He crushes it out for a 3-run homer. Makes the whole team feel good. Getting one of your star players back on point. Rangers really need to see that out of Fielder to be the threat in the middle of the lineup.
One positive was Adrian Beltre did play today, and his last 2 at-bats he's actually moving better. Maybe as he played the game, he loosened up a little bit more. I would have had him out under my watch a while back.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think his swings, his at-bats were better. His last 2 still really does not have the same finish getting his backside through the baseball, but looked a little more comfortable as he went along in this game.
Prince's timing is just off, and I saw it last night with Estrada. Did a great job of mixing it up, and he hasn't got that rhythm. And that's all. He's just missing. He's right in between, and usually when guys are in between, you go through these little slumps that you can prolong it if you battle yourself, or if you stay confident that you can get the timing back, you can break out of it fairly quick. But he's in that in-between mode right now.
The 1-2 from Price. Diving attack by Collins. Fielder with his second hit of the series. Chu in at third. Rangers have runners on the corners with one out here in the eighth.
And there's an example. He gets a base hit. He's not driving the ball. He missed a couple balls earlier in that bat, but he was able to get the knock. But here it is. This is a ball. He's just out in front, and he actually ends up hooking this and just found a hole.
Yeah, listen, the dinner's going to taste a little bit better just with that base hit.
Yeah,
you know, did he barrel it up? No, but he grinded out that at bat to get to a pitch. Grinding throughout that at bat against a tough left-handed pitcher. That is something to build on.
I think this might be David Price's last hitter right here.
Aaron Sanchez and the Blue Jays pen. That hit by Fielder ended an 0 for 11 stretch. So the Rangers threatening here in the eighth, trailing by 6. Moreland at the plate looking for his first hit of the series. He's 0 for 9.
Let's not forget, guys, we had John Gibbons by design start a knuckleball pitcher and bring in a left-hander throwing upper 90s. Think about the difference in the timing. And I talked to Dave Magadan, the hitting coach of the Rangers, about that. He said it's definitely an effect for hitters. It does take a while to adjust, comparing it to seeing Jared Weaver of the Angels, and then a hard-throwing bullpen guy comes in behind him. Now you're seeing some better at-bats now, seeing David Price a second time.
Well, it does take time, and a lot of times the knuckleballer will mess up your swing entirely. And watching RA, that's why I was surprised they took him out so early. With all these young players of the Rangers that had never seen a knuckleball, he made them look silly. They didn't have good swings. I like the first swing by Moreland in this at bat right here. He tried to get you a 3-ball real quick on one swing. Even the second one was not bad, but the first one, he's looking to get you 3 points real quick. And you're right back in it.
The 0-2 from Price. Bounce to the right side. Goins gets the out at first. Coming home is Chu. It's now a 5-run game.
And you're playing outs right now if you're the Blue Jays. Their infielders were back, not double play depth. They're even deeper because all you're doing is playing outs at a time. And that's why Goins not gambling to go to second base, cut off the lead runner or anything like that. You're playing outs and trying to win this game. It's a gutty performance by David Price. Just considering he started a game earlier in the series. He was up yesterday twice.
Did some stretching exercises in the first inning today.
Yeah.
They dropped parachute into the game in the middle of the game and really looked comfortable from pitch 1. Says a lot about his mindset to do anything.
Rangers first pitch. Base hit center field. Fielder comes home. Throw is cut off. It's a 4-run game.
I really thought after the Moreland at bat, that was it for David Price. With Sanchez hot, ready to go, and you got the right-hander coming up in Andrus, who got the big hit right there.
Well, he's been swinging first pitch the entire series and gets on top of this heater. Looks like he broke his bat.
Sure did.
Now Jeff Bannister is going to go to his bench and force a move by John Gibbons.
Drew Stubbs has come out into the on-deck circle. Gibbons out to the mound. So that will be all for David Price, who pitches 3 innings out of the bullpen in Game 4. Here comes Aaron Sanchez. 50 pitches for David Price in 3 innings in his first relief appearance since 2010, first in the postseason since 2008. Jeff Bannister sent Drew Stubbs out into the on-deck circle, so John Gibbons goes to the bullpen. Aaron Sanchez, who has pitched in every game in this series, has allowed only one hit in 3 2/3 innings.
Tough matchup here for Stubbs. He does have home run power, but swing and miss guy against the nasty power fastball of Aaron Sanchez.
And we saw that fastball last night. It was electric. Toughest job in baseball, pinch hit. Come up swinging.
First at bat of the series for Stubbs. He has never faced Sanchez. Andrews, the runner on first. 2 runs in the inning for Jeff Bannister's Rangers.
And this is why the Toronto Blue Jays kept running. When you saw Revere steal the bag, you watched Pilar get thrown out stealing because he slid past the base. But this ballpark plays like a home run park. It is very conducive to scoring a lot of runs.
The 0-2 from Sanchez. Stubbs did not go around, says Dale Scott.
Well, man, this is big league hardball, postseason style. Don't worry about feelings on the other side of the field.
Odor on deck. 8-4 Blue Jays. They led 8-1. And Stubbs is down on strikes to end the inning. Rangers scored 2. Price in line for the win. We head to the 9th. Keone Kela on to pitch for the Rangers here in the top of the 9th, here in the win in game 2.
Tell you what, they're within a grand slam tie in the game. So right here, you want them to hold it. If you're the Blue Jays, you always want to play for that 5th run so a grand slam doesn't tie you or beat you in a situation in the game.
Yeah, agreed. I just, again, get back to you see Drew Stubbs. I didn't like the matchup, Sanchez against Stubbs. To me, I'd rather have Venable on Price. I like the matchup better, and I still want to tax David Price. I want him in the game.
Yeah, no, I'm following what you're saying.
And I still think with 50 pitches, really not that stressful, he will be available for game 5. How effective, how far he can go, we won't know. We'll have spikes on first inning if we get to game 5.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, the only thing that brings into question for me is he threw yesterday twice. But watching Marcus Stroman get up and wing the ball all over the place like he's getting ready to come in, who knows what these guys are used to doing on a daily basis, throwing.
There is Roberto Osuna up and throwing in the Blue Jays pen. 2-1 to Smoke. And he smokes it into right. Catch is made by Chu for out number 1. After the game, stick around for Fox Sports Live as Jay and Dan bring you live reaction and analysis from here in Arlington, plus a preview of tonight's National League Division Series action between the Mets and the Dodgers in Game 3 of their series. Fox Sports Live immediately after our game on FS1. One away, here's Tulowitzki. 0 for 4 today after hitting a 3-run home run in the 6th yesterday.
Well, you made a good point about not just the 50 pitches today, but the work yesterday in the bullpen. Now, 2 different views of that work. Blue Jays saying, no big deal. He just threw about 18 pitches. Interestingly, Jeff Bannister telling us he had his eye on every pitch David Price threw in the bullpen yesterday. And he said, don't misunderstand. He was getting hot in both the 7th and the 8th innings.
And Bannister's vantage point is directly to that bullpen, and he's looking to see how he's going to manage against David Price. So I kind of have a feeling that he was looking a little bit closer maybe than everybody else.
He doesn't miss much. And John Gibbons, as we mentioned, telling us that if Price came into the game today, Stroman would start game 5. What a story. Not many thought Stroman would return this season following a torn ACL and reconstructive knee surgery. While he was rehabbing, he went back to Duke University, earned his degree in sociology.
Real cool.
4-0 following his return. And he was outstanding in game 2 of this series.
Well,
Tulowitzki draws a 1-out walk.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it is before the postseason was going to start, after the Blue Jays had wrapped it up, the question was, who's going to be the number 2 guy? Is Stroman even going to be the number 2 man? Right? That was the discussion.
Guess what? He's the number 1 man now with Price pitching in relief tonight. One of the nastiest 2-seamers in all of baseball, Marcus Stroman.
Well, I love his moxie, his attitude, how he carries himself out there, and just when he gets it going, he knows he's got it going. A little flair to him. I like that.
Andrews, Odor over the first, high throw, double play, 6-4-3. We head to the bottom of the 9th. Odor, Chirinos, DeShields due up for the Rangers. Game 4 at Arlington. 3 early home runs off Toronto Blue Jay bats. They lead 8-4, bottom of the 9th. As the Blue Jays look to send the series back north of the border. No team in the postseason has ever erased a 4-run deficit in the 9th. Well, 40-year-old R.A. Dickey started the game. The oldest pitcher to make his postseason debut as a starter, and now the youngest player in Major League Baseball will try and close it out. The only major leaguer born, Harold and Tom, in 1995, Roberto Osuna.
Born the year before R.A. Dickey was drafted. Amazing. What I love about Osuna, you can't tell how old he is when he's out there on the mound. Very calm, such a young guy, entrusted with getting the biggest outs of a season.
Well, I've always said I'd rather have talent than experience. And he's very talented. Look at these two. This is a battle of the Titans in years to come. Odor, just barely 21 years old, and Osuna, 20.
So a combined age of 41. Dickey will turn 41 later this month.
Look at you.
Great job by our entire crew here in Arlington. Led by our producer, Pete Macheska, director, Jonathan Evans, associate director, Aaron Stoikov, broadcast associate, Jordan Harrison, technical director, Paul Harvath, tech manager, Craig Marlowe, Dave Corris, Ben Bowman, Wayne Fiddleman crunching the numbers, and Ryan Panitz here in the booth. The 1-1. Now 2 balls, 1 strike.
Great take there by Odor, trying to find any way to get on base. Very aggressive hitter. Not in this circumstance.
Look at how the defense has changed. Remember, they're playing him all shift. He gets that 1 hit the other way. Look how it's changed and opened up the offense for him.
As you described it, a ground ball double. Left field again off the bat of Odor, but it's a fly ball into the glove of Revere for out number 1. Bank of America. Play of the game. First inning. 2-run shot. Josh Donaldson, second batter of the game. And then later in the inning, Chris Colabello. And in the second, Kevin Pillar into the glove of David Price in the Blue Jays pen. Our Bank of America plays of the game. Here's Torino, strove in a run his last time up. Only twice in the history of the division series, which came into play in '95 after division series in '81, and then 14 years later they came back for good. Only twice has the road team won all 5 games in a division series.
Wow.
Texas Rangers in 2010 and the San Francisco Giants in 2012. Road team winning all 5.
A shot of Donaldson there. Usually you talk about the outfields as the sun field. He's probably thinking right now, don't hit to me. Does not have the sunglasses. This kid is so cool.
That's what Donaldson's looking at right there. That's what he's blocking.
Looks like a scene out of The Natural.
Yeah, on the corridor down there, they have the openings, you know, because it's big here and spacious, that does shoot down there, and it sits on the eyes of the infielders. Depending on, obviously it's on Donaldson now, but depending on time of day that you're playing, that sun's moving around, that affects you in the infield.
He did not have to worry about it in the first 2 games of the series with the roof closed at Rogers Center.
True.
A 1-2 to Torinos, 2 away.
Well, I asked this kid, how do you stay so cool on the mound? He said, you know what? I've been doing it my whole life. He said, this is baseball, and when I'm on the mound, I don't hear anything. I don't see anything except my catcher, living in a very small world, 60 feet, 6 inches long.
Well, I thought last night when you were talking about his journey,
Playing all over the world.
Playing against everybody.
Always
older.
against the older guys.
Everybody's older in the major leagues.
Yes. And you know what he does so well? When he's at a lead like this, here's a strike 1. It just changes how the hitter can attack you now. Free and easy, just easy release and gas. Boom. Popping on you.
The Blue Jays 1 strike away from evening this series at 2. Right field, Bautista. The series heads back to Toronto, tied at 2 games apiece. Donaldson, the big blow in the first inning. Pilar with a home run. So Jose Bautista and the Blue Jays, after losing the first 2 at home, pick up 2 huge wins here in Arlington. Blue Jays win game 4, 8-4. David Price picks up his 2nd career postseason victory, both coming in relief. Teams that win the first 2 on the road in a best of 5 have gone on to win 93% of the series played. Ari Dickey went 4 2/3 in his first postseason start.
Well, he did a nice job. He got up to a great start. Tremendous knuckleball working.
So despite the return of Adrian Beltre, the Rangers fall short by the score of 8-4. For Harold, Tom, and Ken, this is Kenny. We'll return to Arlington in just a moment for more post-game coverage. But right now it's time for Fox Sports Live. We send it to Jay and Dan in our Los Angeles studio. Guys.